I've driven a lot of roads in my life. I've spent years behind the wheel, covering thousands of miles of lonely blacktop across the country. But there's one stretch of asphalt I won't ever forget, and I'll never drive it again. It's a place the locals call Devil's Spine. A remote, desolate highway in the American Southwest that seems to hum with something not quite of this world. It's just a 30-mile stretch of two-lane road between two dying towns you won't find on most maps. But once you've driven it, you don't forget it. You can't. The road is officially designated Highway 191. You won't find much online about it. It's not a popular destination. No scenic views. No rest stops. Just sun-bleached signs, dried-out brush, and nothing but emptiness on either side for as far as the eye can see. The stretch I'm talking about runs from nowhere to nowhere, just a whisper of civilization out in the desert. But for those who know, for those who've heard the stories, Highway 191 is the road that leads to hell. I didn't believe in haunted places before. But what I saw out there, I can't explain it. And I know I wasn't hallucinating. It happened. All of it. It started on a Tuesday afternoon. I was hauling freight for a small logistics company, doing a cross-country run from Tucson to Amarillo. My GPS had me rerouted because of a pileup on I-10. I was annoyed, but I wasn't in a rush. The detour sent me north, down a network of back roads that twisted and curved through dry, cracked landscapes and long-forgotten ghost towns. That's how I ended up on Highway 191. The sign was rusted, the paint faded. Just 3 digits, 191. I paused for a moment before turning onto it. My gut twisted a little, like I was making a mistake. But I told myself I was being silly. It was just a road. Just another 30 miles. I started down the blacktop. The first thing I noticed was how quiet it was. I've driven rural highways before, but this was a different kind of silence. The kind that presses on your eardrums. No birds. No insects. No distant hum of wind turbines. Nothing. Just the soft crunch of my tires on weather-worn asphalt. The second thing I noticed was that the temperature dropped. It was 95 degrees when I turned onto the highway, and within 10 minutes, I had goosebumps. I turned down the AC, but the chill clung to me. The sky dimmed even though there wasn't a cloud in sight. And then I saw the first marker. Mile 313. It stood crooked, leaning slightly to the left. Faded numbers. Looked like it hadn't been maintained in decades. There was something unsettling about it, as if it was marking more than just distance. As if it was a warning. I drove past it. But I kept glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see someone standing beside it. The locals have a name for this road, Devil's Spine. They say it eats time and swallows people whole. The earliest story I found after the fact was from 1947. A family of 5 went missing on a road trip. Their car was found abandoned, the driver's door wide open, engine cold. No footprints. No signs of struggle. Just gone. Then came the truckers. Over the decades, there have been dozens of accounts from long-haul drivers reporting strange figures on the side of the road. Some saw a woman in a white dress, barefoot and motionless. Others said a child stepped into their lane, only to vanish seconds before impact. Most of them refused to ever go back. But it wasn't just the stories. It was the patterns. Electronics failing. Clocks freezing. Radio static that turns into whispers. And always the same stretch, between mile markers 313 and 319, about 10 minutes into the drive, my radio cut out. I hadn't been listening to anything in particular, just some AM talk station crackling with static and ads. But then the signal shifted. The crackle flattened into a single high-pitched whine. Not loud. Not sharp. Just this faint, buzzing hum that made my teeth hurt. Then, it turned into whispers. At first, I thought it was bleed through from another channel. But no matter how far I turned the dial, the whispers stayed. They weren't in English. They weren't in any language I recognized. But I understood one word, clear as day: turnaround. It wasn't a voice. It was many. All speaking over each other. Layered, chaotic, like a chorus underwater. Then the sound stopped completely. Silence again. I glanced at the clock. 4:24 p.m. I kept driving. When I looked again, just minutes later, it still read 4:24. I frowned, pulled my phone out of the console. Dead. Fully dead. It had been half charged when I got on the road. Now it wouldn't even boot. Then I noticed something worse. Mile marker 313 again. I had passed it 20 minutes ago. I was going 60 the whole time. I shouldn't be here. But there it was, leaning, faded, like before. Exactly the same. I slammed the brakes and pulled onto the shoulder, heart hammering in my chest. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. I got out of the truck. Big mistake. The second my boots hit the gravel, the air got heavier. Like I'd walked underwater. The sky above me had dimmed more, though the sun still hung overhead. The colors were off. The blue had leached out of the sky. Everything looked washed in yellow-gray. I walked to the mile marker. I stared at the numbers, 313. There were scratch marks on the pole. Deep ones, like claw gouges. And carved into the wood beneath the numbers were 3 words: "Don't keep driving." That's when I heard footsteps. Crunching gravel, slow, deliberate, and I turned. No one, but I heard them again, closer. I ran back to the truck, slammed the door, locked it. My breath fogged the window. In the middle of the desert. At 90 degrees. I put the truck in drive and floored it. I passed mile marker 313 again 6 times. Every loop, something changed. Once, the sign was upside down. Another time, it had blood on it, or something that looked like blood. One time, it was missing completely. And every loop, I felt like something was getting closer. Watching and waiting, I started seeing figures. At first, it was just a shape in the distance. Standing on the shoulder. Then another. And another. No movement. Just dark silhouettes, almost like people cut from the night sky. They never got close. But I could feel them watching. Then, the windshield fogged up, fast, like someone was breathing right on the glass from outside. But when I wiped it, it wasn't wet. It was frosted. The inside of the truck had dropped to near freezing. I could see my breath. The dashboard lights flickered. Then the horn blared, long and loud. I hadn't touched it. And in that moment, every single warning light on the dash lit up, Check engine, oil, battery, ABS, every single one. Then the headlights cut out. I was driving blind, in the dark, on a road I could no longer see. I slammed the brakes, and silence. Nothing. I sat in the cab, shaking. Eventually, the lights came back on. The road was empty. But the mile marker ahead now read 319. I'd escaped. The sky lightened, the temperature rose. I floored it. I didn't look back. That night, I slept in my truck at a well-lit rest stop. I didn't even make it to my drop-off point. I just sat there, staring at the clock, waiting for it to stop again. When I got to the next town the following morning, I asked a local mechanic about the road. He got pale. "You drove Devil's Spine?" he asked. I nodded. He didn't say anything for a while. Then he told me his brother disappeared on that stretch 20 years ago. Just gone. His car was found at mile marker 315. Driver's door open. Engine off. No signs of struggle. He said every family around there has a story. He showed me a wall in his garage covered in Polaroids, cars that had broken down on that stretch. Burnt out engines. Mangled frames. One was snapped in half like a toy. All from between mile 313 and 319, there are theories. Some say a convoy of trucks carrying biohazard material crashed there in the 1960s, and the land was never properly cleaned. Radiation. Poisoned soil. Hallucinogens. Others say it was cursed by a tribal shaman who was executed nearby by settlers over a century ago, that the land is sacred, and trespassers are swallowed by spirits of vengeance. And some believe it's a thin place, where the fabric between worlds wears down, and things from somewhere else bleed through. But no one knows for sure, and no one drives it twice. If you're reading this, don't go looking for it, even if you think I'm full of it. Even if you're curious, because the road wants that. It waits for you to doubt, to test it. But once you're on it, once you pass mile marker 313, you might not find your way out. I barely did, and something followed me. Every now and then, I still hear the whispers on my radio. I always change the station. But sometimes, they say my name.